This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, Bruchim Abam, welcome everyone, Shalom Aleichem. We continue in the Chaim of the Rosh. This one, a public service announcement. We're going to be starting B'siyata D'Shmaya, the week of Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Mishnah Brura Daf HaShavua, Blada week. We're calling the program Shoyna Halachos. Be prepared for the historic launch. Shoyna Halachos, Daf HaShavua. Now, we're continuing the Orchos Chaim of the Rosh, and we're up to Ois Pei Hei. Al Tashmiya B'chutz Koilecha. Do not make your voice heard outside. V'al Tiyat Soiveach Kebehema. Do not scream out like an animal. Udvarecha Yia Benachas. Your words should be gently. So the Rosh is saying three things. Your voice should not be heard outside of your house. Don't scream like a behema. And your words should be menachas. Says Rav Goldberg. First, the Rosh is saying you should be careful that your voice should not be heard out of your house. Even if you're not screaming excessively. Meaning, you're not shouting on the top of your lungs, or you're speaking very loudly. It's not modest that your voice should be heard out of your house. So if you know that people are going to hear you on the street, you should be careful that not to speak so loud that people could hear you. And then the Rosh adds, and even if you're sure that people cannot hear you, do not scream like a behema. Meaning, two things. Don't speak so loud that people can hear your voice outside. If you're speaking so loud that people could hear your voice outside, that's not proper. What's not proper? It's not snios. Why should people hear what's going on from the outside, from the inside of your house? But even if, let's say, you have a very large property, and even if you're screaming on the top of your lungs, no one's going to hear from the outside. Nevertheless, you shouldn't scream. Don't scream. Why not? Because that's not human behavior. Rather, that's like a behema. Like the Tosis Yom Tov says in his Targum, do not scream like a behema, even when you need to. And the Rosh says kibehema to disparage that kind of activity and practice. Not only is it not kavod of an honorable person, but it's meguna, it's despicable like a behema. Behema, they don't have the koyach hadibur like bnei adam. They scream, and if you do so, it's like ma'isa behema. However, we find in Chazal that if the Chazal see that their words are not being heeded, and there is a concern that people will follow an improper practice, they did find cause to be tzoiveach, like we find in Gemara and Shabbos, Kuf Nun Vav Amud Aleph. Rabbi cried out because they were gavlin shesisa b'Bavel and nobody's listening to him. And in Kedushin Daf Mem Daled we have Rish Lakish with tzoiveach v'yatza v'haisa. And then the Rosh adds a third important practice. Not only should you not speak so loud that people could hear from the outside, not only even if people can hear should you not scream, but beyond that, udvarecha yiyu benachas. Your words should be heard gently. Says the Targum of the Tosis Yom Tov, Tein daitcha, pay attention, shedvarecha yishma'u ba'adinos, that your words should be heard pleasantly, edelkeit, adinos, in a soft manner, in a silk manner, in a delicate manner. And that is an additional madrega, like we find in the Rambam, Parakei Hilchos Deos Halacha Zayin, that a Talmid Chacham should not cry out, he should not be tzoiveach when he speaks, and he should not be magbia koiloi, ela diburoi benachasim kol habriyos. So think about what the Rambam is saying. He says that a Talmid Chacham should not be tzoyek v'tzoyek. The manner of Talmidei Chachamim is to speak benachas. As we learned in the Geras Haramban, Tisnaheg tamid ledaber kol dvarecha benachas l'chol adam uvechol eis uvezet tinatza menakas. And as this is the midah of Talmidei Chachamim, to speak benachas, ba'adinos, not to be magbia koiloi yoiser midai. In a few days will be the Hakamas Matzeva of our beloved grandfather, Rav Mordechai Leib Glatstein, Zecher Tzaddik Levracha. It's coming to the year, an end of the first year of his Avelos, and anybody who knew him will be meyed that he never raised his voice. Nobody ever heard him raise his voice. Every word that he said was ba'adinos, was delicate, was very soft. He was mekayim, that which the Rambam says the manner of Talmidei Chachamim is to speak all of their words benachas. There was never any harshness, never raised his voice, of course never screamed. That was not even in his capacity. So this is what the Rosh is teaching us, these three things. Your voice should not be heard outside, you should not scream like a behema, and moreover, your words should be benachas im habriyos. Okay, everyone, we'll pick it up, Be'ezus Hashem, next Monday. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Wishing you all bracha v'hatzlacha and a wonderful rest of the day. Be sure to join our shir tonight at 8:30 on the 10 ingredients of Reb Chaim Kanievsky, Zecher Tzaddik Levracha, that will mamish change your life. Have a great night, everyone. Kol tov.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.